Good morning, hockey fans. This is Stephen Heisler with HeisHockey.com, Victoria's Hockey Company, and the Junior Hockey Discussion Group on Facebook. This is the Junior Hockey Morning Show. We are on the World Sports Broadcasting Network, WSBN.TV, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and maybe even in your living room on your TV. Monday, January 30th. Monday's our NAHL report day. Got a lot going on today. It's a good day. Last night, the Capitals visited Toronto and got crushed 5-1. That makes my day happy. Dealing with a headache this morning, so if my speech sounds a little bit off, please forgive me. Tomas is monitoring the Facebook group. If you have a question during today's show, you can ask in the group, and Tomas will let me have it towards the end of the show. And if it's appropriate, you can't ask me if we won't go there. Anyway, let's get through some of this. USHL news. Chicago lost at the National Team Development Program 5-4 in overtime last night. Friend of the program, Mark Carlson, Cedar Rapids Rough Riders head coach, notched his 750th career USHL win with a 7-1 victory over Muskegon on Saturday night. This puts Carlson just 33 wins away from tying PK O'Hanley as the winningest coach in USHL history. Carlson, who is in his 23rd year at Cedar Rapids, also serves as the general manager and president of the club, and has been since 2014. Good job, Carly. NAHL news. One game last night. St. Cloud beat North Iowa 2-1. Third straight win over North Iowa. Maine visits the Northeast Generals today. Well, actually this afternoon, like at 1:30 or so Eastern. I'm sure a lot of fans will be in the building at 1:30 on a Monday. Should be good. North American Hockey League report. Before I go into that, make sure that you look at tomorrow's article on HeisHockey.com. Make sure you grab tomorrow's show. Tom and I we're going to record it this morning after this show for tomorrow. It's an important one. Please share that with your friends, family, colleagues, workmates, everybody. We got to fix this problem that we're having with SafeSport. The North American Hockey League rankings continue this week with the battle for playoff positioning getting fierce. The Oklahoma Warriors managed to put a little space between themselves and the Brahmas, while the lovable losers Danbury lost yet another set of games. Start at the top. Our grade A clubs. Oklahoma Warriors 28-6-0 and 1-8-14 win percentage. Garrett Roth and the top-ranked Warriors looked like world beaters while dismantling Corpus Christi 9-1 and 8-3 at home over the weekend. Let's see if that intensity can be maintained when Amarillo visits Wednesday. The Warriors are down in Corpus Christi for the weekend. Number 2, Lone Star Brahmas 25-8-1-3. 730 win percentage. This is unusual. Dan Walfon's Brahmas have just 4 wins in the last 10 games after getting swept at Shreveport. Look for all that to change when Amarillo visits NYTEX this weekend. I don't think Amarillo has a chance. I think Dan Walfon's going to get those Brahmas whipped back into shape before the weekend. He cannot stand losing the game to Amarillo. Number 3, Maryland Black Bears, 27-9-4-0, 725 win percentage. What in the world is going on with Clint Mylock's Bears? There's literally no reason for letting the Generals take any points out of Piney Orchid Ice Arena, yet the Boston Crew beat the Bears 6-3 on Friday night. Maryland bounced back with a 5-3 win on Saturday, but the damage was done. After such an amazing start to the season, Maryland now sees their lead over New Jersey shrunk to just 9 points with a whole lot of games remaining. The Black Bears get this week off before going to Johnstown February 10 and 11. All right, there goes the A's, Tommy. Our B grades. Number 4, Austin Bruins, 24, 8, 3, and 4. Steve Howard's Bruins picked up a very entertaining road split at Minot over the weekend. But look for an all-out war this week when Austin faces North Iowa in Friday in Mason City and Saturday in Austin. It's actually back-to-back weeks where they play North Iowa. 4 straight games. In the perfect world, Austin would win all 4 of those games. No pressure, Steve. Number 5, New Jersey Titans, 23-13, 1-2, 628 win percentage. Craig Dormus and the Titans were beaten on both sides of their home-and-home series with Philadelphia, giving the Rebels a renewed confidence for the playoff push. Look for New Jersey to get back on track this weekend when Danbury visits Middleton. Danbury doesn't have any chance at all of winning in New Jersey. If Danbury beats New Jersey in New Jersey, they should just quit. That would be ridiculous. Losing to Danbury at this point right now, after so many losses, is going to be something everybody else laughs at. Don't be the first team to lose to them after this great streak they're on. Number 6, Minnesota Wilderness, 22-12, 2-3. Brett Skinner and the Wilderness picked up 3 points from the roadie at Springfield, losing in overtime after Friday's 2-1 win. Fairbanks visits Thursday before the Wendigo are back for Friday and Saturday in Cloquet. Number 7, Northeast Generals, 21-12, 4-1. Brian Erickson's Generals split the weekend series at Maryland in a pair of games that resulted in more questions than answers. Why is a Boston-based NAHL team with so many perceived advantages managed to be so consistent? You're in the heartbeat of hockey, all those Division I schools all around you. But this team is very inconsistent. Maine visits today before the Gens head to Johnstown this weekend. Tommy, we're going to be done quick today. Probably 15 minutes. Our C-rated crew. Number 8, Fairbanks Ice Dogs, 23-15, 3-0. Dave Ellison's Ice Dogs took advantage of some weak Wolverines goaltending Friday before getting taken down 6-3 at Anchorage on Saturday. Fairbanks trails Anchorage by 8 points in the Club 49 Cup standings. That's a standings between Anchorage, Fairbanks, and Kenai River. The Ice Dogs visit the Wilderness Thursday before busting down to Janesville to face the Jets Friday and Saturday. Number 9, Shreveport Mudbugs, 20-13, 2-3. We told you last week that Jason Campbell and the Bugs were going to give the visiting Brahmas fits. Pulling off a 2-game sweep of Wild Funk's team was fun to watch. Can the Bugs fans get any crazier? They were off the rafters on Saturday. How about that Texas fan showing her backside to everybody within earshot? She should be a regular on Real Housewives of Dallas. Shreveport visits Odessa this weekend in a battle that should be entertaining. You know, when you go on the road to follow your team and you are such a donkey in the seats, screaming, yelling, cussing, acting like an idiot continuously the entire game, that's embarrassing. It's embarrassing for the team that you're following. If you have a kid on the team, oh my goodness. But here you are visiting a different city. I'm surprised that one of those Cajun girls didn't take that lady out to the parking lot and give her a little taste of Cajun hospitality. That was ridiculous. The police talked to her a number of times. If that's you and you're watching this show, goodness gracious, lady, get a grip. Lay off the coffee. I know what happened. She got some of that Superior Coffee Company coffee before the game. That Cajun coffee's got some extra kick to it. I don't know what they put in it. Probably some raccoon tail or something. I don't know. Number 10, New Mexico Ice Wolves, 21-14, 2-1. Theo Fox and the Ice Wolves were smashed in Friday's 6-1 loss at Odessa, but managed to fight their way back with a 5-4 win on Saturday to earn the split. Look for New Mexico to pick up max points from this week's 3-game series with visiting El Paso. You know, watching that game Friday, we watched 2/3 of it when New Mexico was at Odessa. Odessa had a pretty big house. A lot of fans in the building, certainly pumped. Even more fans on Saturday. New Mexico was able to get the split out of that with that win on Saturday, but still, it's nice to see Odessa fans just completely engaged with this year's Jackalopes. Them having some success. Scott Dewar's crew's in there doing a good job. It looks really good for the league. Looks good for the team. Number 11, Wisconsin Wendigo. What is going on this morning? Coughing and I think when I say Wisconsin Wendigo, it's a tongue twister. 21-15, 1-1. Blake Halitas Wendigo had their 7-game winning streak snapped and bursted at Kenai River, losing both games in Soldotna, Alaska. Wisconsin visits the Wilderness this week at Northwoods Credit Union Arena in Cloquet. Should be a good series. Number 12, Maine Nordiques. Paige and the Nords got the weekend off before having to face the Generals today near Boston. Philadelphia visits the Coliseum on this weekend. Tommy, I was told that a number of AAA players that were in Greer will be up in Maine this week protesting, hoping to get some of their money back. How do you fold a team before Christmas, charge for the whole year, and then keep the money? Crazy. That guy's supposed to be a billionaire. Why is he screwing over kids? Number 13, Amarillo Wranglers, 19-14, 2-1. Newsflash, Harry Mahood's Wranglers are better than number 27 El Paso. Yes, that's a low bar, but that's where we are. Look for Amarillo to go winless in the next 3 games this week at Oklahoma and Lone Star. Number 14, Minot Montoros. We're going to end up going in half an hour. 20-16, 1-1. Cody Campbell's Toros split the home weekend with division leading Austin in a series that was very fun to watch. A lot of back and forth action, not a lot of baloney. Cody Campbell was cool under pressure. Steve Austin didn't throw any sticks on the ice. Good weekend. Minot opens February with 4 straight games against the Wings, starting this weekend in Aberdeen. Oh, that'll be fun. Speaking of the Wings, Scott Langer's Wings were clipped by visiting Bismarck over the weekend, sending the veteran coach back to the drawing board. Next 4 games were all against Minot, starting this weekend at the Odie. Aberdeen is 19-15, 2-2, 553 win percentage, number 15 in the country. Number 16, Janesville Jets, 19-15, 3-4, 549 win percentage. Joe Dibble has fueled up the Jets, and it looks like the youngsters are going to take flight towards the playoffs. Looks like. The 3-1 and 9-5 home sweep of Chippewa was impressive enough, but what would really be cool is for the home sweep of visiting Fairbanks this weekend. That'd be nice. Fairbanks is tough on the road. They're better on the road than they are at home. We'll see how that goes. Did we miss Fairbanks? No, I didn't. Number 17, Anchorage Wolverines, 17-14, 5-1. Evan Trupp and the Wolverines made a change between the pipes after Friday's disappointing home loss to Fairbanks and managed to double up the Ice Dogs on Saturday to salvage a split. There are 3 games on the schedule this weekend when Anchorage visits Springfield. I somehow managed to watch the entire game from Friday, and I'm sorry. Anchorage should have won that game. There's no reason why they didn't. The reason why they didn't was definitely between the pipes. And that uncertainty there has been the bulk of their issues from last season. It's been the bulk of their issues from this year, and is something hopefully in the future is going to be really nailed down. They have a lot of good goaltending in the pipeline coming up. The Maycard kid is ridiculous. I think he'll be number one for next year for sure. But to get some stability between the pipes is the only thing that separates Anchorage from another Robertson Cup run. Number 18, Kenai River Brown Bears, 21-18, 1-1. Just when we think that Taylor Shaw's Brown Bears are about to go into hibernation, they pull off a stunner and sweep the visiting Wendigo. Can they get that same kind of result when they visit Chippewa this weekend? That remains to be seen. Cheers. Coffee break. It's a lot of reading. That was necessary before getting into St. Cloud. The Norsemen are number 19. 18-16, 2-2, 526 win percentage. I'm going to enjoy this one. Corey Millen's Norsemen will take a 5-game winning streak into their 2-weekend, 4-game set with the arch rival Bismarck. St. Cloud took 3 straight games from North Iowa, with the last 2 games on the road in Mason City. This is going to be fun. Norseman owner Chris Canavati may just be the NAHL's version of legendary National Football League operator Al Davis with his just win, baby way of thinking. The black-clad crew from Minnesota will be locked and loaded for cats by the weekend. This win streak that St. Cloud is on is the ultimate middle finger to the North American Hockey League referees, hierarchy, Board of Governors, everybody else that just seems like they're out to get the Norsemen. Here we go. Millen is such a phenomenal coach that he can beat you from the cheap seats. I hope Corey Millen coaches in the National Hockey League. I hope he goes pro, and you guys are all sitting here scratching your butts in 5 years. But Corey Millen's a hell of a hockey coach. For all yous that have been against him and trying to throw him under the bus, you just got your one finger salute. 5-game winning streak. That can easily stretch to 9. Let's go Norse. See that jersey over my head over there? There you go. Number 29, Odessa Jackalopes, 18-17, 0-1. Scott Dewar's Jackalopes are going to have to figure out how to do a little better than splitting a series at home if they are going to be serious about breaking into the playoffs, especially in the South Division. There must be a bit of disappointment in Odessa this morning after getting such a big win on Friday and then losing on Saturday. Now 8 points behind New Mexico and Shreveport. That was an opportunity to gain some ground on New Mexico. In the battle for playoff positions, the Jackalopes can't afford many more letdowns. The Mudbugs are in town this weekend. Here's your second weekend of opportunity to gain some ground. Odessa. You guys are in a situation that you put yourself into earlier in the season, and now is a time to put together a string of wins. Let's eliminate that gap. Number 21, Bismarck Bobcats, 17-16, 3-2. Lane Sadevi and the Bobcats are apparently serious about their playoff push. Bismarck pulled a valuable road sweep from the trip to Aberdeen, proving to everyone that that this group is not going to be letting off the throttle. Look for a lot of tension this week when the Bismarck Bobcats visit St. Cloud. Number 22, Johnstown Tomahawks, 17-17, 2-0. Mike Latiza and the Tomahawks are not done yet. They're back at 500 after a road sweep at Danbury. All right, don't get too excited about road sweeps at Danbury. Everybody's beating Danbury. But the fact is, Johnstown is back at 500. Only a pair of points behind fourth place Maine in the standings. Every game has playoff implications from now until the end of the season. There is more than enough skill in this team to take care of business again this weekend when the Generals visit the War Memorial. Johnstown's a good hockey team. They have a lot of skilled players. They have a lot of ability. The culture is good in Johnstown, much better than the Generals. So take care of business. Johnstown, now's your opportunity. You can do it. We believe in you. Mike Letizza's a hell of a coach. Number 23, Chippewa Steel, 17-18, 1-1, 486 win percentage. Casey Young and the Steel did not look good while getting swept at Janesville. The advantage they should have had between the pipes simply was not evident in the series. Mignon needs to get the team back in sync before Kenai visits this weekend. Now, that wasn't a good look. That was not a good look for Chippewa. Every advantage they had was there, and they should have been better. The performance between the pipes was a letdown. There's no doubt. I was waiting for something to happen, and it just didn't happen. You know, and the I don't know what it was, the intensity. Maybe the lights weren't bright enough for that kid, but it just wasn't. It wasn't there. Speaking of not being there, number 24, North Iowa Bulls, 17-18, 2-0, 486 win percentage. Todd Sendon's Bulls drop under 500 to number 24 after losing 3 straight games to St. Cloud. The now 4-game losing streak can easily stretch to 6 while facing division-leading Austin in a home-and-home series this weekend. The really bad news, the Bulls face the same Bruins team the following week as well. Here's the question. How far does North Iowa have to sink before Sandin is shown the door? Yes, he is kind of the same thing as Mason City, but how much more will this ownership group from Lincoln really put up with? 2 years in a row, this team has sank at this time of the year. Hey, he was great as a 3HL coach. Just saying. Number 25, Philadelphia Rebels, 17-18, 1-1. We got to love what Justin Hale and the Rebels are doing on the ice. The weekend home-and-home sweep of the Titans was certainly an eye-opener. This week, pair of games at Maine gives Philadelphia the opportunity to move ahead of the Nordiques in the standings. That would be something. The Rebs are playing good hockey. Talked to Adam Bartholomew while we were in Michigan. He really believes in this group. Good to hear. Let's get to our, we have one D team this week. That's it. Number 26, Springfield Blues, 17-19, 0-0, 472 win percentage. Tyler Renee and the head coach in waiting, Todd Bukaki, and the Blues split their weekend home series with division-leading Wilderness and are now just 10 points out of the playoff contention. 10 points is a lot in that division, but just 2 games under 500 going to the first week of February. The 26th ranked Blues are still in it. They are today. Let's see what happens when Anchorage visits this weekend. A lot of games, a lot of points. It's an important week for Springfield. I think they should start working on next year, but they're still sitting on a lot of older players, and I see why. They think they're still in it. Good to have faith. Now let's go to our teams that are definitely failing, our F-grade teams. That starts with number 27, El Paso Rhinos, 11-22, 3-0. Yes, 347 win percentage. Joe Coombs' Rhinos were hammered in their home series against Amarillo, losing 5-2 and 4-2. Seriously, El Paso is not a contender. We all know that. They're not making the playoffs. So why are there still 10 2002s on the roster? Why not trade those kids away to contenders? Get some young guys to come back? If they're not good enough to be traded away, why are you wasting your time? Doesn't make any sense. The Rhinos have 3 games at New Mexico this week. They could easily lose all 3. Number 28, Corpus Christi Ice Rays, 9-24, 5-0, 303 win percentage, I think it's time. Sylvie and Claudia and the Ice Rays have to part ways. A week after sweeping the Brahmas at home, the Ice Rays were outscored 17-4 while getting swept at Oklahoma. The same Warriors team visits Corpus this weekend. Now, I can't help but wonder which Ice Rays team is going to show up. The one that played against the Brahmas or the one that went to Oklahoma? Doesn't make any sense. Number 29, Danbury hat tricks. 2, 33, 3-2. 113 win percentage. Patrick Steffen and the Tricksters are now winless in 26 straight games after being swept by Johnstown at home. Danbury visits New Jersey this week. I'm pretty sure that's going to be 28 games after the weekend. That is nuts. Danbury, I was told in the last few days, when it comes to deciding what team they want to keep in town, the Federal Prospects Hockey League team or the North American Hockey League team, the ownership seems committed to keeping the NAHL team, which is ironic because apparently nobody cares about the NA team in that market. Yes, I understand that they might be willing to sell the federal team to somebody else and move that team out of town. That would be good for the North American Hockey League. But we've been hearing that for 2 years now. They were going to do that. Actually, 3 years now. And it hasn't materialized. And right now, it looks like a joke. Right now, it is a joke. And it's embarrassing. The league has to step in and do something to make that group more competitive or force that group into maintaining standards. Haven't heard any complaints this year. That's a plus. Last year, there were hundreds. All right, folks. Do we have any questions from the group this morning? What do we got?
We have Jim Lillendahl.
What does Jim say?
What is your opinion on the CJHL players having to wear full cages?
Oh boy, when you go to college, you have to wear a full cage. And the CJHL going to full cage is kind of like what USA Hockey's done with a lot of their rules. It's more about liability and protecting and trying to save money when it comes to all the injuries, but it's speculative. I understand most of those kids are going to college hockey. Very few are going to go right from the CJHL directly to the pros at some level. Some will, but mostly not. So I get the idea behind it. I understand it. In the Canadian Hockey League, most of those kids are going to go right into professional hockey at some level. So I get it. I'm not in favor of it. I think it's counterproductive. I think full cages means kids are feeling a little more entitled about lifting up the sticks and not really playing with any urgency to keep the sticks down. Just my opinion. Kind of like the backsides. We all have them, right? Anybody else?
He also asked, are we going to see more Canucks headed south next season?
More what?
Canucks, I think.
Canucks heading south next. Canucks. I love my kid. Canucks heading south next season. I suppose that means players going down to the North American Hockey League and other places. There's a limit on number of imports on each of the USA Hockey teams. There's not in the USPHL. So that will open up some spots. But I think Canadian players generally know that they can play for a lot less money than going south to do pay to play. The Canadians that are in the USHL, some have done very, very well. And that's been a positive. So let's see what happens. But some of the better players are starting to make that move and get out of the CJHL, especially at 16, 17 years old when they really can't go anywhere else. The limits that the provisional government puts on or affiliates puts on those kids limits their movement. Going south is one of the options. So I get that. And it's worked out good for some of those kids. And I expect, yes, more higher end, younger prospects will follow if they're not convinced that the NHL is their immediate target. Going to the USHL or North American Hockey League versus going directly to the Canadian Hockey League could be advantageous for some of those kids. That's it?
No, there's more.
There's more.
Peter Gibbons asks, if Mid-Cities is such a gong show and a talentless organization, why are all the teams in playoff contention scrambling to acquire their players?
That's a good question. I think it's been said that leadership starts at the top. A lot of the problems that Mid-Cities has isn't about being talentless. It's about being leaderless. Chris Hilley is a good head coach. This problem they have isn't on him. It's really falls back to the owner and the general manager who's making the roster decisions. It's if you dump 20-year-olds, 19-year-olds late in the season like this, it's not because you're making the playoffs, it's because you want to bring younger players in for later. In the case of Mid-Cities, they like bringing younger players in so they don't have anywhere else to go the following year within the 3HL. And that's a bad move. So being traded to Mid-Cities is kind of like being traded to Danbury. It's a good way to push kids to Canada for the following year or to non-sanctioned hockey for the following year. I doubt very many of those kids getting traded to Mid-Cities is going to want to be there next year, if Mid-Cities even has a team next year. It's not that they're so bad, it's that they're so poorly operated. Is that it? There you go. Thanks for the questions. I'm sure Mid-Cities owners are going to file a lawsuit today, and I'll get that letter tomorrow. It's okay. It's my opinion. There you go. There's my saving grace, my opinion. Listen, tomorrow's show. We're going to record it here in a few minutes. It's important. I need all of you to share it with any and everybody you can. Let's get to our congressman. Let's get to these people in Washington and have them change the safe sport rules a little bit. A little adjustment that needs to be done. We need to criminalize the circumvention of safe sport suspensions and mandates. Right now, what's happening is putting our hockey players and our youth in a very dangerous situation. That's it for today.